Are you thinking of moving to Lisbon? Want to know how much it really costs to live in this beautiful city? Is the information being found out there confusing you? With so many people saying, yes, do come to Portugal, it's extremely cheap and affordable. And others are saying, oh, I can't live here, it's too expensive. So which is it? I'm here today to give you my honest opinion on how much it costs to live in this outstanding city in the year of 2023. If this is your first time in our channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Lisbon, subscribe and click at the bell button so you're the first to know when we post new videos. I'll be sharing with you important information on the best areas to live in Lisbon and the reasons why you should or should not move to this beautiful city. My name is Relocate. My team and I receive contacts every day from people just like you thinking of moving to Lisbon, and we love it. Either it's in a month or a year from now, contact us so we can further discuss how we can assist you and your family with relocating and investing in Portugal. Number one, let's start with groceries. I would say groceries in Portugal are quite affordable when compared to the USA and Canada. I'll give you some average prices of some basic grocery items. Like milk, you shouldn't be paying more than €1 for a liter of milk. A kilo of whole chicken, about €2.50. And when we think of rice, which is an item that's heavily consumed in Portugal, we're looking at about €1.50 per liter. And what's another basic item that we can go, oh, let's talk beer, right? A beer at the supermarket here, it's about 60 cents a can. And when you look at the kiosks, not quite a grocery item, but an item that is heavily consumed, is the Imperial. That's the measure, that's what we call a beer in Lisbon. And that's about 200 mLs of beer. And some kiosks you'll pay about €1, and they can go upwards of €3 depending on the location. I actually know of places that will sell those for about 50 cents each. Haven't tried it, but if you want to know, I'll let you know where it is. Let's talk, I'm a big wine drinker. One of the main reasons, I shouldn't say one of the main reasons, but coming from Canada where wine is extremely expensive, wine here is very affordable. When you're looking at wine at a grocery store, they start at around €1.50. That's right. I don't know how good they are. I've tried some, questionable. My range really for supermarket wine, which is the stuff I'll just open casually at home. I have like a €5 for white, an €8 for red. And if I go to a specialty wine shop, 10 to 15 euros, I'm getting fantastic wines. If you go up to 20, 30, you're really getting wines that in North America will cost you close to $70 to $80. Dining out, that's a big one here in Portugal. We all love to go out, don't we? And you're gonna be shocked of how little and how much you can pay for a meal in Portugal. I'm gonna start with lunches. You can really at a Portuguese restaurant, a simple Portuguese restaurant, here we call them tascas. At a tasca, I can easily have lunch for under 10 euros. And that will include bread, a main course, a glass of wine, and coffee. Isn't that crazy? Also, you have some nicer restaurants that at lunchtime, they have some lunch deals. I would say those will range between 15 to 20 euros. And those will be a bit like, more polished restaurants, place you go in for a business meeting and, to catch up with a friend that you're looking for a bit more of an atmosphere. 15 to 20 euros usually get you an appetizer, a bread service, a glass of wine, or if you're not drinking for lunch, a beverage of your choice, plus coffee. That's a really good price. And we have to remember that in Portugal, the taxes are all included on that price. You don't have, your local tax plus liquor tax. This is the price. So very, very good. Dining is not that different. You can really go to a tasca and have dinner for under 10 euros. So that's called 10 to 15. When we first moved here, we found what we call our guilty pleasure. Go into a simple tasca, have 2 steaks, and the steaks here, they usually serve with a fried egg on top, French fries and rice. Yes, I know, you wonder why we stop eating those regularly. With a half a liter of wine, plus coffee, and a dessert to share, all of that for under 20 euros. It's insane, and then from there you can go up, right? Like when we go into a mid-range restaurants, the ones that we dine more often, with a bit more of a concept, different menus, attentive service, really something that you're like, okay, let's go for dinner. We have some friends in town. Let's catch up with friends. we would say we spend about 40 to 50 euros a person, and always with a bottle of wine, perhaps having our own appetizer or sharing one, sharing a dessert. We usually don't eat a dessert each. And that's really for a couple, we'll be looking at 80 to 100 euros for dinner. But that, again, like any international city, the sky is the limit, right? When we go to more high-end places, we expect to pay between 100 to 100 euros per person. Again, always with a bottle or two of wine, depending on the size of the group, and always with appetizer and dessert. And then you have Michelin star restaurants. Those can cost you upwards of 400 euros a person if you get the tasting menu and the wine pairings. And even with wines, when you're looking at a wine list in restaurants, at a casual restaurants, you will have wine starting as little as 8 euros a bottle of Portuguese wine. And when you move to the higher end restaurant, not the Michelin starred, it's quite easy to find wine on the mid-20s that are very, very good Portuguese wines to cater to every palate. And then from there, again, as with everything else, the sky is the limit. Our next item is transportation. Let's just say that Lisbon is very easy to get around. It is much smaller than you think. If you live in the central Lisbon area, most of places you're reaching by walking. But if you don't feel like walking, let's just say if you take public transit, the single ticket today is €65, but also you have monthly passes. If you wanted to cover just central Lisbon, that would be 30 euros a month. And if you want greater Lisbon, that includes Cascais, Sintra. If you plan and intend to do lots of day trips, go to the beach a lot and do all of those things, I recommend 40. But if you're really an urban person, 30 is enough. And that also includes the trams, that if you pay them individually, is over 3 euros a ride. One way of transportation that is mostly used here, we have Ubers everywhere. We use two main apps, which is Uber and Bolt. By Bolt is that B-O-L-T, not B-O-A-T. Very, very affordable. Most rides that we do within the city, I would say are between 3 to 5 euros, unless it's really busy time or you're going a bit longer, then you can expect to pay between 5 to 10 euros for a ride. Even to go to the beach, which is something that you should know in Lisbon is very much part of the lifestyle. We go a lot personally to Costa da Caparica, that is just over the bridge 25 de Abril, which is the San Francisco lookalike bridge. We usually pay for a half an hour ride to the beach between 15 to 20 euros. When you share it with your friends, you really, you imagine how inexpensive it actually is to get around Lisbon. The next item on the list is gym memberships. I'm going to share with you the ones I'm familiar with, starting with the lower end one, which is Fitness Hut. For about 30 euros, you get, modern gyms, good location. They have them in different areas of Lisbon, and you have packs that allow you to use all of them, or if you want to pay a little less, you specify the location that you want to use. Those tend to be quite busy. That's the only thing that I find that is a disadvantage. Next from that, you have Home's Place. That's I didn't know about that company before, but it is an European franchise of gyms. Those are a little more complete. You have lots of classes, you usually have swimming pool, and that will cost about 80 euros a month. Next we have the one I've actually chosen, which is Club 7. It's a full club close to Marquês de Pombal. We chose them because they have tennis courts, and since we moved here, I've decided to take on tennis, which is really good. You get to play year-round outdoors. January you play in February, December. Club 7 today you're paying about 110 euros per month. I think it's important to tell that both Home's Place and Club 7, with your membership, you usually have monthly or bi-monthly visit with a dietitian, and you also get to see a personal trainer every couple of months that they will work with you on the program for the next few months. So all of that is usually included on the plan for those two gyms. Next item on the list is utilities. Let's just say, a lot of people say utilities in Portugal are quite expensive. I would have to disagree. It really depends on how you live and how much you're using. In our case, we live in a large 2-bedroom apartment. We do have a dishwasher that we use daily. We do have a washer. We don't have a dryer. They're not as common in Portugal as they are in North America. And depending on the time of the year, how much heating basic we're using, we will pay between 50 to 100 euros a month for electricity and gas. In our case, those come jointly, and our gas is mostly responsible for the hot water. Next item is water. Water is, I would say, quite affordable. For the two of us, every 2 months we'll get a bill for about 40 euros. So let's call 20 euros per month, or 10 euros per person if you want to put it that way. Next, let's talk about cleaning services. If you don't really have the time or not really good at cleaning the house, doing the ironing and things like that, today the hourly rate for cleaning help, it's under 10 euros an hour. And it's important to mention that even if they're hourly employees, it's quite common here to pay them in August on their holiday time. Most of the country that time, that's really when they're gonna go away with their families to the beaches. So August you're still paying, but not getting in a service. And in December, you usually pay them double of what you usually pay. And that's what they call the 13th salary. It's basically a Christmas bonus. Let's talk about healthcare. One of the great benefits of living in Portugal. They do have public healthcare. I hear it's quite good. However, most expats that are moving here, they choose to go the private way. I'll give you some average costs for a good plan with access to very modern hospitals where you're able to call the specialist directly. Really, I mean, we're very happy with the system since we've been here. At my age, 40, I'm paying about 60 euros a month, and that's full coverage, right? And when you look at somebody, I was doing some research for people in their 70s that will go for the same plan between 200 and 260 euros a month. It's important to tell you that you do pay a small amount every time you see a doctor, or every time you do go to the emergency or have a surgery. I'll give you some examples. If I call a specialist and I go directly to the specialist, I'm paying 17 euros for the visit. If I go to the emergency, I believe I pay 20 euros for the visit and emergency. And for surgery and things that are more serious, I will pay 10% of the cost of the surgery. Private education. Although Portugal has lots to choose from when it comes to the public system, most new families and expats choose to send their kids to private schools. With lots to choose from. We have British school, we have American school, a couple of options for French-speaking schools, and also a German school. You really have lots to choose from here. From Cascais to Oeiras, all the way to a few options in Lisbon, you get a few options to choose from. When it comes to cost, that varies quite a bit based on what stage of education your children are at and what school you want to send them to. I find that the average could go, I mean, I shouldn't say average, I should say cost. It could go anywhere from 500 to 1,500 euros a month for a good private school. Let's talk about rental prices. You know, when it comes to Lisbon, you have such a great variety of prices within the same neighborhood. That really has to do with the fact that some buildings are older, some buildings are more luxurious. Really in so much difference between a property to another, you know. Does it have central air? Does it have central heating? Are there amenities in the building? Is there parking? You know, parking, because being so rare, tends to increase the price of rentals quite a bit in Lisbon. Within the central areas, the prime areas, and that would include Príncipe Real, Estrela, São Bento, Santos, one bedroom can vary between 900 to 2,200. Two bedroom will go anywhere between 1,400 to 3,000. And the cost of a 3-bedroom will probably start at around 1,300, and that can go up to close to like 3,500 to 3,600 a month. It really depends on your lifestyle, your expectations, and what you really can afford. But I think the important thing is there is something for everybody. You just have to be realistic to your expectations. If you are someone that doesn't need to be in the middle of the action in the historical part of Lisbon, you could really travel like 20 minutes by car, 40 minutes by public transit, and be paying close to 40 and 50% less than those prices. Those neighborhoods are really nice as well. Lisbon being a very safe place. Those would be more modern areas that have been built in 1950s, 1960s. Perhaps not as much charm, but you get the charm from being in a small Portuguese community. And that will really cut the price to close to half of what it costs to live in the historical part. Now let's talk about buying in Portugal. If you're ready to invest in the Lisbon market, you should also know that there is a bit of a variety within the same neighborhood of price of apartments. In the best neighborhoods in Lisbon, you can expect to pay anywhere between 300,000 and 600,000 for 1-bedroom, where 2-bedroom apartments can range anywhere between 400,000 and 1.2 million. And if you're talking about 3 bedrooms, I've seen anywhere between 600,000 and 2.5 million. And those are all prices that I've seen in the last 12 months. It just goes really to say that, what do you want? Are your expectations aligned with your budget? But important to remember that at the end of the day, there is something for everybody.